So this is Blue Dragon Awakened Shadow for the Nintendo DS. This game is actually a sequel to the original game for the X360. The original game was a turn-based combat RPG. This one's actually an action RPG game, so more like your old school Super Nintendo Secret of Mana type fight the enemy all in real-time combat. One of the things about this game is that, as opposed to the first game where you just had the characters that were, already created, this one actually allows you to create your own character. And you have different customization options, so you can create a male or female character. You have some basic things like facial features and things, a few different voice sets that you can use in the game as well, and then different hairstyles and hair colors. There's also a barber within the game too that you can pick up more hairstyles, more hair colors, and further customize your character. You also have different emblems that your character uses. At the beginning of the game it doesn't seem like this does much, it's just kind of your family crest, but as you go through the game you find out that some of these have different special powers. So some of them can raise your attack power, some of them can make you better with magic, so there's different abilities that different emblems can actually give you. So you can start out creating your character, doing whatever, and then actually learn about these things later on and switch out to, kind of specialize your character as you move along. It is an RPG. The game itself is going to take about 20 to 30 hours just to go through the critical path, not doing any of the side quests or anything like that. The game itself is actually made on a 1 gig cart, so it's rather large in general for a DS game. Most DS games are usually about half to a quarter that size. And then with the side quests, of course, you can get up to 60, 80 hours of gameplay. One of the things about the game is that as you move through, you can actually refight bosses that you've defeated before and get different item drops and things like that you hadn't gotten from defeating them the time before. So if they have a rare item that you want, you can actually go back and fight the bosses again. There's also a multiplayer component to the game where you can go either local or actually Wi-Fi and play with up to 2 other friends and fight bosses in the game as well. So here's an example of one of the earlier bosses that I'll just go back and refight again and show off a little bit of the combat system. All the art design and all the character design is done by Akira Toriyama. He's the one who did the original Blue Dragon designs, and also, he's famous for Dragon Ball and a few other series. So very happy to have him on board for the game. So as I said, it's action RPG as opposed to turn-based, so I can run around freely, attack, hold down the A button here, and summon my shadow, and cast spells. Each of the shadows have different abilities in the game. Some shadows are better for physical attacks, some are better for magic, some are kind of buffers, you're meant to be in the rear lines helping out your friends and everything like that, not so much frontline combat. And in the game, your characters actually don't level, your shadows do. So it allows you to basically specialize your party by equipping them with different shadows and abilities thereof, as opposed to just kind of picking 1 or 2 guys that you like in your party more than everyone else and not ever using anyone else. So you can actually still feel like you can adventure and put someone in your party for a given quest if you need them, without feeling like, oh, well, he's only at level 12 and everyone else is at level 35, So defeated the Prisoner Ghost. He's only a level 12 boss, so he was pretty easy considering my character's a level 40. But he's going to drop a different piece of gear that he would have dropped originally when I fought him. So you can go back and, as I said, refight, and it keeps track of times on defeating the bosses, number of times you defeated them, so you can actually try to beat your old times, see what you can do with friends to get better at the game. So now that I've gotten a piece of armor off the boss, I can go in and show off a little bit of customization in the game. As I said, when you create your character, you can make them look pretty much however you want. And then one of the other things is that all the equipment and weapons and armor in the game actually look different as well. So you have a lot of different swords and weapons, and when you actually equip it, it's going to look different on the character themselves. And you can see that when you're in combat and everything. And then armor as well is going to look different on your character. So players that like form over function and want to have some cool looking armor, they can do that and equip whatever armor they want that looks the neatest. And players that are out for the best attributes and abilities can select all their items, look however they want, for just based off of numbers. All the items in the game can also be enchanted and combined with other items that you'll get off of enemy drops. So you can enchant a weapon, say with fire elemental power, with different abilities that'll make its attack power higher. So there's reasons to keep weapons around that may not be most powerful right now, but you can actually make them more powerful as you move along. The game itself is broken up into a bunch of different cubes. Basically, at the end of the last game, the world was splintered into different world areas that were called cubes, and you can use your Mechat, which is your flying machine, to travel between them. And each of the cubes is a completely different area, all different art style. We wanted to make sure that going to cave number 1 as opposed to cave number 2, wasn't just like most games where cave number 2 is blue as opposed to cave number 1, which is red. So all the areas are very different, and we have the poopy cube to show off some of Blue Dragon's little bit of humor. The whole cube is made out of a springy material. And again, you can see that it looks quite a bit different than the castle town.
I'm Poopy. Got a problem with that? You're the weirdo. Yeah, I'm gonna call you... Yo, weirdo. You got any Oreo?
So, there's quite a bit of voice acting in the game. It's not full voiced, but a lot of the major plot points are voiced over. Combat, of course, has voices that are played during it as well. And some of the side quests have some minor voice just for some of the lines along with it. So we wanted to make sure that the players actually got, voiceovers during the game, just to kind of keep them a little bit more in with things, even on some of the side quests. 'Cause a lot of games that you'll play, yeah, sure, the main story plot line is voiced over, and then you go into anything else that's not main plot, and there's nothing to it. No voices, no anything, so players kind of get disconnected a little bit. And we wanted to make sure that doesn't happen when you're playing throughout the game.